If you're out and about, if you're on the subways, if you're on a bus, if you're among other people, you're going to wind up in the hospital. Well, as it turns out, yesterday, Governor Cuomo in New York unveiled statistics that show that 66% of hospitalized coronavirus patients had been staying at home. The overwhelming majority of people who wound up very sick in the hospital were at home. Before that, the governor and the team had guessed that these people were infected while taking public transportation. So this is kind of a news flash for them. Other big news today, more grim news about the economy. Another 3 million more workers filed for unemployment benefits for the first time last week. That was down slightly from the 3.8 million the previous week. Now more than 33 million Americans have filed for initial jobless claims since the pandemic ripped through our country. It is devastating news. We knew it was coming. We know how awful it is to shut down the country. You've got different states reacting different ways. Yesterday, New Jersey's governor decided, okay, we're locking it down for another month. But you go state to state. You look at some of the different states and the way they're reacting. Governor Doug Ducey extended the state's stay at home until May 15th, but non-essential retail businesses were allowed to open for curbside pickup only on May the 4th. Then on May 8th, they'll be allowed to allow customers in. That's tomorrow, as long as capacity is reduced and social distancing is practiced. In Arkansas, businesses, gyms were allowed to open, barbershops, salons, May 6th. So that's yesterday. The gradual opening up is happening, and the left seems to be very unhappy about it. And if anybody dares defy a governor's order, well, we saw the case yesterday of Shelley Luther in the Dallas, Texas area being sent to jail immediately. And as Tucker Carlson pointed out last night, this hair salon owner was evidently such a threat to society that as they're letting hardened criminals out of jails in order to slow the spread of coronavirus, the hair salon owner had to be handcuffed and taken to the jail immediately. I don't know if she was handcuffed. I presume she was. But she was taken to the jail immediately. She's in jail now. There was an exchange yesterday that I think in many ways symbolizes the whole debate and where we are right now. It's all summed up in Shelley Luther versus this Judge Moore, however you pronounce his name. He's described, by the way, as a self-described Democrat activist, not just a member. He's on the bandwagon for the Democrats. In fact, according to what I saw last night, he once sent out a letter or an essay condemning Clarence Thomas as a traitor to the black race. A lot of progressives love to call Clarence Thomas the Supreme Court Justice and Uncle Tom. Apparently, this judge is in that category in what he supposedly, an essay that he so supposedly advanced, condemning Justice Clarence Thomas. So, he's got a political ideology. And I don't know why this enters into Law and Order, why he didn't say, Shelley, you shouldn't have had your salon open during this. All the salons are opening in Texas tomorrow. So clearly, you're not the bad guy that anybody wants to make you out to be. We'll fine you a few $100. Just go home and be well. And no. He wanted her not only to apologize, but tell him how selfish she was. And he dangled, metaphorically, the keys to the jail in front of her. He said, you'd call yourself selfish, and I'll put the keys away to the jail. You call yourself selfish, I'll let you go home. If you don't call yourself selfish, and you don't shut down your salon, I'm pulling out the keys, and you're going to go to the hooskow. We're locking your butt up. Listen, and you think I'm exaggerating. Here was the judge yesterday in court facing this hair salon owner. These were his instructions to her.
A determination has been made that you are in contempt of this court. You refuse to shut down your business in the face of a restraining order which required you to do so. We continue to operate your business for a full week, even after being ordered not to. Earlier, reference was made to your having keys to the jailhouse. You may utilize them now. If you would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge that your actions were selfish, putting your own interests ahead of those of the community in which you live, that they disrespected the executive orders of the state, the orders of the county and this city, that you now see the error of your ways and understand that the society cannot function where one's own belief in a concept of liberty permits you to flaunt your disdain for the rulings of duly elected officials.
So Shelley Luther had a choice. She could have stood there and said, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm selfish. I'm bad. I'm terrible. Please don't send me to jail. As you know, probably many people would have done. Instead, she held her head high. She had a very pointed, direct response to Judge Eric Moye. Here's what she said.
Judge, I would like to say that I have much respect for this court and laws, and that I've never been in this position before, and it's not some place that I want to be. But I have to disagree with you, sir, when you say that I'm selfish, because feeding my kids is not selfish. I have hairstylists that are going hungry because they'd rather feed their kids. So, sir, if you think the law is more important than kids getting fed, then please go ahead with your decision, but I am not going to shut the salon.
And so with that, the judge marched her off to jail where she's to serve a 7-day sentence. Now, the governor of Texas, Governor Abbott, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, they're all condemning her going to jail for a week. They're not doing anything about it as far as I can tell. They're condemning it, which politicians love to do. The governor seems to be concerned about, just doing a pardon or some kind of executive action to get her out of jail because that may be a violation of process about cronyism. I don't know. I mean, if you're going to give a statement, you think this judge is going to back down? I understand the judge told my buddy Mark Davis in Dallas, well, I think the governor told Mark, I think the judge is going to have a change of heart. He's going to change his mind. Oh, yeah, sure he will. This guy's dug in. He's got his heels dug in. He's a guy who is a progressive Democrat activist who loves Obama, pictures of him with President Obama. Apparently a history of sending out derogatory stuff about Clarence Thomas. I don't think he's going to change his mind. But there is an American response to this story that I think you're going to love. There is a reaction from the country that I think is going to put a big smile on your face. Perhaps this story has a happy ending after all. Now, we're praying for Shelley Luther that she doesn't get sick in jail. There are, I'm told, coronavirus-infected prisoners behind bars there still. But there she sits. I hope she'll be okay. I don't know what it would be like to spend a week in jail. But wait till you hear what's waiting for her on the other side.